takes so much work to get a client, we really need to make sure that we keep those clients extremely happy and satisfied. Hi, I'm Amy Walker, Client Acquisition Specialist. My job is to help you find the simplest and most efficient ways to consistently find your dream clients. And today we are going to be talking about how to improve customer satisfaction. Let's be honest, it is expensive to acquire a new client. It's a lot less expensive to keep an existing client and keep them happy and keep them coming back for more and turn them into a referral machine. That's what we all want. So today we're going to cover a couple of things. First, we're going to talk about all the areas of the customer experience. And we're going to talk through some ideas and strategies for what you can do for each phase of the customer journey. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the 3 different types of customer service you need to plan for. And that is really what I hope you come away with, is that if you don't have a customer service plan, then you have inconsistency. And it's totally dependent on like your personal abilities, right? And your team's personal abilities. But let's be honest, we're human and we're inconsistent. I have days where my brain is like super sharp, like I remember all the details and all this stuff. And then I have other days where it's a little foggy. I can't quite remember all the details. I'm maybe not as focused as other days. And it's not because I want to have bad customer service, it's just because I'm a human being. And we are cyclical. Some days are better than others. And so what we want is a customer service plan that is not cyclical, but that is designed to create really amazing winning experiences with our clients from the very first interaction that they have with us till long after their contract is done. If you are new to the channel, I would love for you to subscribe. So hit the bell notification and you'll be able to get notified every time we release new content, which is 3 times a week. Customer service. This one, I think we all learn a little bit through trial and error and doing things wrong, honestly. The bad customer experiences are the ones that have taught me what to do right. So I don't want to make this video as though I've never had a dissatisfied customer. What I do want to impress in this is that I've never not tried to fix it. So I have had a small handful of customer satisfaction issues where we didn't do what was right for the customer, we didn't meet the expectation, and we always have gone and done what we can, anything within our control, we've done it to try to be able to create a positive experience for them. That being said, I do think that you have to let go of a little bit that idea that the customer is always right. The customer's not always right. Sometimes the customers are jerks. Sometimes no matter what you do, they're never going to be satisfied. Sometimes you fulfill your end of the contract and they want to renege on theirs. That happens. And those things are minimal. And I think sometimes when we're looking at our customer service plan, we think of those bad experiences and the bad eggs, and we want to try to create something that will protect us from ever having that happen again. I don't think that's really feasible or doable. What you really want to do is think of all of your normal customers, the regular ones, the ones that you've liked working with them, but you wanted it to be better. The ones that they liked working with you, but maybe it didn't last as long as you wanted it to. And now you want to really dig in and make that better. So we all have those experiences, and I know that they weigh on our minds. I know they're hard to let go of, but we just have to set them aside for now. Or set them aside forever if you want to. So let's start off by talking about the different phases of the customer journey and how we can create great customer service and a great client satisfaction during each phase. Number 1 is during the sales process. So during that process where they are investigating your company, where you're talking with them, deadlines are really important. If you say you're going to have something to them by a certain point in time, do it, because that shows them that you follow through. If you say you're going to send them something, send it. If you drop the ball in any way during the sales process, because again, we're human, call it out, apologize for it, let them know that's not the norm and that you did recognize that you dropped that ball. I think that's really critical, because otherwise they're getting an impression of you that working with you will be similar to whatever mistake that you made. So we want to be as good as possible during the sales experience. Now, in general, I think a lot of companies do better during the sales experience than they do in other places because they're so focused on let's get the deal. And then as soon as the deal's in, it's like, well, I got my cash, so, that's not included. We don't do that. Like they put a lot more effort into the sales experience. I want the sales experience to set the tone for everything that is going to happen next. Years ago, we had a call, my appointment setter got on the phone and said, to set a call for them to have a sales conversation with me. And the person said, yeah, I want to do the $10,000 program. And they were like, Amy, what do I do? And I said, well, sign them up. Like, let's see what happens. And it was such a good learning experience because that client came on board and they had a lot of fears, they had a lot of concerns, they had a lot of confusion. And what I realized and learned from that is the importance of that sales experience was that's how we set the tone for where we pick up working with a new client. So skipping the sales process actually hurt the client. Now we did some extra stuff. We worked with them. We got them all on board and caught up and it was fine. But it really taught me the value that sales experience is not just about closing deals. It's about setting the tone for how you're going to work with your clients. So I recommend that you think through the sales experience and figure out what do you do there that primes them to be really ready to work later. For example, I go over my expectations and the pace that I expect for my clients because I do make my clients work hard, especially the first month. Like we're kicking it. We're getting a lot done in that first month. So I really preface that so that they're buying into that. And then when they get into the first month, they're not like, oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. This is so hard. They're like, this is exciting. I'm getting so much done. This is exactly what I wanted. And so it really sets that tone. Number 2 is your onboarding process. How well is your salesperson passing off to the fulfillment person? Are there any gaps in information that are not getting passed along? I have found that when clients have really shared all their stuff with the salesperson and then they get into who they're actually working with and that person doesn't know what's going on, they feel like something's wrong. Like, well, why don't you know? I already told all of that to my salesperson. Like, why don't you know? So you want to have a smooth transition of information. You also want to have welcome rituals and welcome routines that make them feel like they're a big deal and it's important that they are your client. Like it matters to you that they are your client. So sometimes that can look like swag that you're sending them. One of the things that I have done with my new clients is when they come on board, I give them a bunch of templates, like really usable templates for how to build funnels or their sales scripts or things like that. And I just let them know like, hey, you don't have to use all of this at once, but at some point or another, every single one of these things is going to come in handy and I just want to make your life easier. And they're like, oh my gosh, this is it's a gold mine that you just gave me. So just little things like that you can do that make them feel more excited because now they're starting that process of working together. The third section is your service process. So this is the monotonous phase, right? This is where I feel like we rest on our laurels a little bit. And this is where I want you to think of ways that you can continue to wow and woo your clients. It's kind of like when married couples stop dating and then all of a sudden the romance isn't really there anymore. If you want your clients to come back over and over and over again, you got to keep dating your clients. That sounds bad. For most of you, I recommend that you do not date your clients, but it's that process of just continuing to let them know that they matter, continuing to reach out. Things like, are you honoring and celebrating their birthdays? If they have something exciting that goes on, how are you celebrating their win that they had in business or a weight loss win or however you support them? That process of making sure that they feel consistently important as they go through the service phase is really critical. So think about that. What can you do to make that continue to be a big deal? Fourth is the post-contract phase. So this is when they finish their contract. Now, what are you going to do to keep those lines of communication open so that you'll continue to get referrals, so that they'll potentially upsell into a new program, package, or service, or continue using said program, package, or service, or that they will want to, maybe become a brand ambassador for you, or when they need you down the road again and they have a new project, that you're the first person that they think of, not the last. So this for me has been about transitioning into personal relationships. Yes, I continue to have them on my email list, and yes, I do send things out that are specific for them, but it's also doing things like reaching out to them and seeing how they're doing and saying, hey, you were on my mind and I just saw that you had come up, I just saw you create this great win. I'm super proud of you. Just wanted to know I'm still cheering you on. It's those kind of little personal touches that I think have made the biggest difference in creating the most long-lasting relationships. Sometimes the unscalable is the most important thing for growth. And I know that's hard because you can't automate it, you can't systematize it. But what you could do is you could set aside a certain amount of time in your week for you or your team to just love on past clients. Even if it's 15 minutes and you reach out to like 3 clients a week, that still is something. And they don't need to be hearing from you all of the time, but that process of knowing that you're still on their team, you still are invested in them, you still care about them, that's going to ensure that they keep coming back and keep sending people your way. So the first half of the equation is how do we do a good job with customer service? But the second half of the equation is also equally critical. This is the 3 different types of service that you provide. So the first is the quality expected service. So there's a standard that they expect. For example, years ago, I had a business consultant that I hired on my team to coach a group of people, and she was coaching while she was driving kids around. And it was like, no. That is like below the expectation. The expectation is that you're going to be sitting at a desk, that you're going to have a quiet environment, that you're going to be completely focused on these clients. That is the expectation. Anything below that is just unacceptable. So if you don't know what your clients expect, you may be falling short because you didn't vocalize that expectation, or your team members may be falling short because you didn't vocalize that expectation. So that's the first part. Now, the second part I think is where you really wow them. Number 2 is your quality unexpected experiences. What are the things that blow them out of the water because they just were not expecting it? Like, for example, I'm a little unsure of how I feel about the fact that I told you guys in this video about all of the resources that I give to my clients, because that's unexpected. They don't know it's coming. And so when they get there and it's all there, it's like a Christmas present under their tree. And now I just set it on a video, but we're gonna roll with it. You can always take it down later. So that is something that it's unexpected. Little swag items that you send them. Remembering their birthdays. Caring, if there's something that's going on in their life, the phone call like, hey, I saw that your mom passed away. I just wanted to know, or sending flowers, or, just being there and doing those things that you did not have to do. It was not in the contract. It was not an expectation, and you went above and beyond. Now, the third one is the one that is so critical to address, and we wish we never had to, but it is the below quality experiences. So how you respond to subpar service is humongous. I cannot stress that enough. At some point, even the best businesses and even the best teams will not do right by a client. We will fall short, we'll drop the ball, we'll have an off day, something will go wonky in our process, and it happens. How do you respond to that? Make sure that you're taking accountability. Don't throw a single team member under the bus. I never do that. Like, we know as a team, we will not throw each other under the bus, but we will as a team take accountability and say, you know what, as a team, we did not provide the level of experience for you that we pride ourselves on. So we're going to try to make it right. The other thing that I do is I try to provide options, because sometimes what you want to do to make it right is not what it feels like is right to them. And so I'll say, I've thought about this, and I've come up with a couple of different ideas for how we can make this right. So let me tell you my ideas. You tell me if any of these work for you. And then I go through and I'll give them some choices. And because I have choices, it's more likely that they're going to walk away feeling like, wow, they really did put thought and effort into trying to make this situation right, trying to make me feel better about it. The other thing is that for customers, sometimes you need to change up how you do things in order to make things right. You might need to give them some extra. You might need to switch out the person on the team that has been working with them and contacting with them. But I have found that when you're quick to respond to mistakes, when you take accountability for it, take ownership for it, apologize, and give them choices, people are pretty reasonable for the most part. Again, there are always those random jerky clients that there's nothing you can do that's going to make them happy. But for the most part, people do appreciate how you show up when you did fall short and make a mistake. Don't try to hide it. Don't try to sweep it under the rug. Just say, I am so sorry that happened. That's definitely not what we stand for and how we do things. So let me try to make this right. And that type of response is like as important as all of the other things that you did trying to make it right, because you could have done 10 things right, but if you did one thing wrong and you didn't address it, it negates everything. So that, my friends, those are my tips on how to create a positive customer experience. I hope that you'll take some of them, and I would love to hear in the comments, what are your tips? What do you do that creates an amazing customer experience? I'd also love to invite all of you to take our sales and marketing scorecard. If you're looking for strategies for how to get more clients into your business, this assessment is going to be really useful. It comes with an 8-page improvement plan that is customized depending on your score that you get. So higher scores get a different improvement plan. My friends, I appreciate you being here. If you'd like to join our community and come, engage more, ask questions, head on over to Facebook. Our private group, Acquire, is open for you, and it's a great resource to ask questions and connect with other like-minded entrepreneurs. And that, my friends, is it. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.